If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the breaks and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Vanko. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm a baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and her toes feel like white. They compete me with y'all at the soul for my leg. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why.
What is up, party people? All right, I'm not sure if it's my end, if it's happening to you guys or not. So I'm checking. On my end, I lagging out big time. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on at the moment. I have a great signal, and everything's being laggy at the moment. Hang on, let me turn some stuff off. Yeah, right now I'm my screen's even froze. Give me a second. Something's going ape shit on my computer. I don't know why. Don't see anything. That's weird. All right. Well, hopefully it will fix itself. I don't have any games. I actually deleted games. I don't even have anything running. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. Maybe this is it. If this makes it any better, then I have an issue with my VLC. Okay. So far, so it looks like it's actually fixed. All right. We'll see if that fixed anything. What is up, party people? All right. Let me see what the chat is. What's up, Tex? What's up, Sean? Hopefully it's fixed. Yes, I think it's Alien Robots as well. I actually know what it is now. It was my VLC media, which is weird because it never has done that before. Which sucks because I wanted to play something. No, it's still doing it. Nah, man, what are you talking about? I can download it. I don't download it. Yeah, see, it's weird. What's up, Peggy? What's up, Dan? Damn it, Danny. Oh yeah, Peggy, I'm on bowl 1, just the first one. I don't know what it is because it's my. I see because I'm looking at my camera. My camera's. I can see me lagging, but at the bottom of the screen where it says "panel on the link," that's still moving. So I don't know what it is. It's super weird. Super weird. No, and all my porn's on external drives when I want to watch it. I don't have time for browsing. Let me see. Because of this, I kind of lost train of thought of what I'm talking about today. Okay, so let me get my train of thought back since this is happening. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Let me see. Maybe it's just the camera. Maybe that's what it is. We'll see if this lags out. I'm not really sure why it would do that. I have excellent internet. All right. Okay, my train of thought is back. I'm here. Perfect. Okay. Today is going to be interesting. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to happen or not, but Cillian Prime, the guy who also created the Globe Gangsters Discord server, he was very interested in having a one-on-one with Right the Hand. I messaged Right the Hand. Right the Hand seems, I mean, he seems interested. I'm going to tell you guys right now, Right the Hand's no bitch. He won't back down from people talking to anyone. So it wasn't that I doubted that. It's just usually timing and seeing if we can get people in at the same time. I will send a link to both of them. Where are we at? Okay. Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know why it's been doing that lately. Oh, that was what I was also going to say. So I started live streaming on OBS. When you do OBS, you have to do. There's a lot of details you have to stick into everything, especially when you do it on YouTube because you got to do all your descriptions, tags, and all that kind of stuff. But there's something I noticed that people are doing. That I'm going to do a tutorial on because I don't know if people are doing it on purpose. They don't care. But a lot of panels, because lately I've been going to a shitload of different YouTube streams just to see what's out there because you don't want to get pegged into this little hole of streamers that you know. But I have noticed because the majority of people use StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard. Some people use alternatives to it, and this still stands. If you guys look in my description right now, I have a full description. When I see people go live with StreamYard, what I've been seeing a lot of is people just having the basic StreamYard descriptions where it's like, it's usually that referral thing or whatever. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to put your description and even more importantly, your tags. Because if you can put the tags from your normal YouTube stuff into your StreamYard, like into the actual tag part of your YouTube, because what YouTube doesn't change anything when you do this. All it does is connect to it. So I'm kind of going to do a little thing on that. So that way people can get more people, more eyes on their streams and their channel. But it's just something I noticed lately, and I really want to do a tutorial to help people out because it's just one more step to getting more people to watch your streams. And then just the awesome stuff about these things that I've seen. And Peggy, I need to join your guys' panel. Do you know, does Nick not like the background stuff or does she just like it basic as possible? You know what I'm saying? Because like I do like a lot of this stuff. Like I constantly am changing my backgrounds. I have backgrounds for days, and I just wasn't like kind of sure if she like used backgrounds or like those kind of things, just like liven up panels and stuff. Basically, when I started, I came from a channel that really emphasized on what people are seeing in the backgrounds and etc. and engaging with. but yeah, I just because I've heard you guys talk about it, and I can tell that she's went from not knowing anything to being able to do it. So it's like there's just those little pieces that I learned over the years of doing it for a total of 10 years, but I stopped for 4. And that's when I stopped for 4. And now that I'm coming back, I'm seeing all these differences and things like that. Because typically I would usually use OBS to do all these. Even when that's the other thing. There are factors that happen that you have to worry about. Like content creators have to worry about when they live stream on panels. OBS still just makes it safer. What I've done it quite a few times. You guys probably didn't even notice me doing it, but I'll use my OBS because I have more control over everything I can do, like all my scenes, sharing, and all the whole nine. Is I'll use StreamYard, but it's just my panel. I don't connect with StreamYard. I connect through OBS, stuff like that. It just makes you can just do so much. But yeah, that's that little tick on that. It was a brain fart, and I had to say something. What's up, Stacy? I'm happy you're here. How you doing? Okay, back on track. I'm messaging Right the Hand, and so let's see if they still want to do this. There wasn't really a topic. I just know that he wants the conversation. So let me go ahead and send them this. I haven't even talked to him this morning, so I don't know if it's going to happen, but don't worry, because I have other stuff I want to watch and see. I told you guys I've been on this little kick of finding like the new flat earthers. So I got some clips from that from a woman in Japan. From what I could tell, she's a Muslim woman in Japan. I'm not sure. I have to bring it back up. But I sent them the links out, so we'll see if they are busy or not. So like I said, it's not a guarantee or nothing. All right, let me go back to here. Okay, so she has a basic understanding. Okay. Yeah, but I've definitely seen that because I could see that when I go to a live stream, I do 2 things. If I like you, right, I hit the like button, and then I go to the descriptions. I don't know why I do it. I just naturally do it. And typically what I've always seen is just use StreamYard and then the link for StreamYard because that little referral thing. What I'm talking about definitely has more steps. Like I have to start like all the screens that I have for this live stream that are important. StreamYard. I have my YouTube studio in there. And I'll show you guys real quick since nothing's happening. So like, yeah, so it's going to look weird for a second, but like say I have my StreamYard, I have my, the video details. For my video details, I keep this open all the time. So if I use a random link, I have a random link. I put whoever comes on the panel, I put your name, and I put your name, and then after the stream, I usually will put your channel link if you have a channel that, does content and stuff like that. But things are constantly changing here. All right, I'm going to half-ass show you now. When you set up everything, this is what YouTube will give you, but StreamYard doesn't. So unless you change this, StreamYard will just give you that basic thing, but you have to come to the YouTube studio to do it. But this is what I was trying to say that was important. See all these tags? When you do all your stuff on StreamYard, those tags don't show up ever. It does not matter if they're normal. It doesn't matter if they're part of your default uploads. Doesn't make a difference. They're not going to be there. So every stream, I basically do that. I go to my last stream, copy it, and then I come back to here, because let me do it real quick so you can see. When you get to it, it'll look like that. That's all you're going to see. So you have to do this. And it adds all of them into it. Very important. That's the main thing that I want to show people, because a lot of people don't do that. And then there's other things that I hate about StreamYard. The thumbnail is too small for StreamYard. So I go here and I rechange the thumbnail so it actually fits. Because if I didn't, what you guys would have seen is this weird looking picture with a white border, like thick white border. But yeah, stuff like that is this kind of stuff I want to go over. I used to do that a lot, actually. I used to do a lot of tutorials on how to use OBS and all those other little things because I was self-taught, and it makes it easier to help people learn. I don't like that one. There you go. Yes, Sean. Google AdWords and trends is a great spot to learn what tags may help, especially with specific topics and pointings. Exactly. And yeah, that's the other thing. Don't let your tags get stale. Sounds weird when I say that. Add stuff to it, switch them around. Titles matter. You guys can see that mine are very basic. I do that for a reason. Typically, that's because I don't know what we're going to talk about. And it's very difficult to stay on one topic. If I put it in the title, I want to stay on one topic. And if I don't have one topic for 3 hours, then I don't do it. I add my title in later. That's also good. But the reason I do that mainly is when you search my channel, if you put Sean G in YouTube search, and then you put B.Y.O.T, you're going to get my streams. If you put Sean G, the truth, you're going to see my, the titles are very important. And it's the whole title doesn't matter. It's just the algorithm stuff like that. Fun stuff to talk about. I'm a help people type. I know right now she's having trouble. When she sets up a live, it will not post her going live till she hits the live button. Yes. That shouldn't happen, but that could be part of the tags because it has to go out to everybody. I actually noticed that too. Sometimes I have to do a detailed search to see if Nick is live. I don't know why it does that. I hate it. YouTube is getting weird. They are definitely placing things where they want. Restream. I didn't know about StreamYard thumbnail. Yep. That's what happens. I've been looking at Restream. Restream to me seems just like StreamYard. And the problem for me would be is I use the paid version of StreamYard because I hate StreamYard's thumbnail, this little thing. I hate this thing with a passion. It actually aggravates me when I see people have it. This stupid little duck. I hate that thing. So I use the paid version of it. Plus, I have a lot of intro music and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to pay for Restream also to see what it can do. But as far as I can tell, the free versions are the same, really. But then again, like I said, I do this. Like if I have like a presentation, like if I like soon, I told you guys this 1,000 times. I got like a pretty good climate change presentation coming up. When I do that, I will use OBS. StreamYard is not good for presenting and all that kind of stuff. OBS or StreamYard, I'm sorry, is really good for a panel. Yeah, but typically I don't even use. I wouldn't even use StreamYard this way. I usually the reason I use StreamYard by itself is typically because I have Tex here, and but she's not because she's in school. Have fun in school, Tex. But it gives her control. So while I'm doing something, she can be able to do the messages, because I have to like know what I'm doing and then click on it for this to happen. She's excellent at doing that. So that was like one of the reasons I did the paid version. It just made it easier to have two people in control and more options for that part of it. But there are aspects of StreamYard I hate with a passion. Okay, you still got about a half hour, don't you? 45 minutes? Yeah, about 45 minutes. But yeah, that's the reason. There's the big differences between the two. But I do like them both. StreamYard is extremely great for start just going. It's not like StreamYard. I use Restream paid version because I kind of ain't about branding. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. The only thing, and that's why I like OBS. And that, Danny, that's like the main reason I prefer OBS because, as you know, that brand, this little tag up here on the top right that's where it goes. You can't move it. OBS, you can move it, you can change it around. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but in my intro, do I have that in my intro anymore? I don't remember. No, I don't. I don't think I do. For a while, what I would do is that logo you see. I used to have one without the background, but I used to lay it dead smack in the middle of my screen and then take away the transparency of it. So if you really look hard, you could see it in the background, and that's probably the best watermark you can do for it. But yeah, there's things like that. Sean Smith says, texlex, after class, you can tell us all the great things you learned. Right. And I hate you can't drop share screens except in OBS. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the biggest things I don't like about this. Its setup is so weird. It's like I said, it's really good for when you're talking to people. Yeah, crop and what do you call it? Changes the aspect ratio of it. All the whole, everything. Especially right now. Okay. This is my biggest pet peeve with StreamYard. I use 3 screens. So I am forced to share on one screen because if I don't, everything starts moving weird. Where OBS, I can change it pretty easy, fix it right away. Exactly. That's the biggest problem. I want to move stuff around. I would like to, you can do little stuff like this, but it takes too long, and I like being able to do it on the fly. And see, now I'm too lazy, so that's where my camera will be on this one. But there's other things I'm like right now. I need to talk to Tex about it, but there's an OBS function, Danny, that I'm talking to you because you probably know about it. There's an OBS function that allows me to do this stuff with the chat where I can pop them up and everything without going live on StreamYard. And that's as soon as I can figure that out, I'll stop using StreamYard. I'll go back to OBS. Because that's the other thing. I'm one of those people. I love having my chat on the main screen. So if, like, for whatever reason, my chat just stops working or it's not on the stream when you watch it again later, it's like dead smack on there. You see everything, whether it's retracted or not. That's actually what I wanted to find out. Because I think if someone is blocked from my channel and they type in the YouTube chat, I still think it comes up on the StreamYard chat. I'll have to test that out someday. But I digress so bad. I apologize, people. Let's talk some flat Earth stuff for a second. No, I'll wait until the flat Earth is here to ask that question. But I wanted to show you the new some new flat Earthers in town. Yeah, the YouTube part. Yeah, I can't stand it because the only other option I have, Sean, and I was actually playing with this earlier. So this is the only other way of doing it, and I hate it so much. I've actually seen people do it this way. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's insane. They do something like this, but you can't crop anything out. So then you get stuck with something like this. I don't like that. I hate that. That's yuck. So I won't ever do that. That's why OBS will always be the best. And then once you learn OBS, you realize that TV is super easy to do. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. So yesterday, me and Tex were talking about her classes, and man, I just couldn't imagine going to college. That shit is crazy. Like they teach you to like read and write, but it's like you already learned to read and write when you're there, especially if you're paying for it, you probably should know. Okay, back to what I was saying. Let me go ahead and find this real quick. Uh, we'll see. Hopefully it'll still work because I don't want to throttle anything. That was super weird. My computer hasn't done that in a long time. Where is this? My flat earthers. All right, so this is her talking about Coriolis. And I have already put the link in the chat or in the description, so I got that out of the way. Go to present, which takes more steps. There we go. So this content creator's name, I had it written down in front of my face. Ereko, Ereko White. I'll put this first video link in the chat so you guys know what I'm talking about. And this is her version of what Coriolis is.
Let's talk about Coriolis effect. It is a natural phenomena that differ when you are in a different hemisphere. The farther you are in the equator, the faster the rotation is. The closer you are in the equator, the slow it goes. Coriolis effect is not the spinning of the Earth. It is an effect on which our local sun, on that ether, is circulating. When our local sun passes through our atmosphere, it always affects on our ether, sending wires of solar energy waves out. And no, it's not a measure of Earth's spin. It is a measure of our ether spin. So when you watch any news during any hurricane or even typhoons, you will see spinning or big storm spins, especially over time as it travels. When you are in northern hemisphere, the spin rotation is counterclockwise. When you are in southern hemisphere, its spinning is clockwise. Storms spins in different direction depending on its location. The storm's rotation is what we call the Coriolis effect that causes fluids, water, and air to curve as they travel, especially across or above ether. On a flat Earth model, the sun spinning constantly around its own axis, depending which season sun is in. Now, since Earth is flat, it is wider on the round far distance than the points around the poles. So the center of every hurricane is an area with a very low pressure. The higher pressure air surrounding, especially the center of what we call the eye of the storm, is then rushing towards the low pressure, especially the void in the middle. The rotation of our local sun causes currents in our ocean to flow in a circular motion, which help distribute heat around to regulate our climate. It doesn't make sense on a globe Earth. It only works in a flat plane surface. Let's use airplane as an example. An airplane can only land safely on a runway that is stationary. The airplane's orientation and motion is always along its landing path. So when the runway is moving, as you said, we are wobbling at a different angle or a different speed, all the planes will crash on the ground. Assalamu alaikum. Let's talk about.
Yeah. You said it, Sean. There was so much to unpack out of that one that I didn't even know where to start. One of the first things that I noticed about it was this idea of the ether thing again. That's obviously not going away. But more importantly, How does and that idea? How does it? Why do why do hurricanes have different rotations uh, in the northern from the southern hemisphere in the flat Earth model? If that's the case, if how she explained it was the case, because that would explain it. If that I could see kind of what she was saying, if all storms had the same rotations because the sun and the moon have the same rotation in this ether, and then after that, it's just a myriad of things that she just clearly doesn't understand to be able to make these points, whether it's how Coriolis works, et cetera, et cetera. What's up, Sean? How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I started driving, so I was like, well, you know what? This is much easier to, you know, to keep it going.
Yep.
But yeah, wow, that
Right?
was a lot. There's so much wrong with it. I
Yeah,
don't even know where to start.
yeah, exactly. Okay, hang on. Okay, we got a noob in the chat. Okay, so Peggy asks, she says, "I'm new, so forgive me. Can someone explain the flat Earth theory to me?" Okay, where do we start? Wow, how do I start? Okay, Peggy, there are a lot of people that believe Earth is not a sphere shape, that it is actually a flat shape. Let me get an example for you. Yes, it's a conspiracy theory. This would be the best example. These would be the only explanation for a flat Earth and how they see it. Earth is flat. Some think it has a dome, some think it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, the Earth is flat. The government is lying to us about it. Science is lying about the evidences they have for this said globe, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, flat Earth is really just a grouping of all the conspiracies you can think of packed into one label. That's what flat Earth is. Very simple. And then the explanations for flat Earth jump around so much that if you ask one flat earther, you're going to get a different answer from another flat earther.
Well, I would say that generally it isn't really that the Earth is flat. It's that it's a denial of the ball, or the globe, or whatever you want to say. Denial of the
Yeah.
evidence of science.
Yeah. It's ultimately a globe denier. That's what it is. Yeah, see, Nerd said the majority of flat earthers have found that they can't defend their position, their claims, so they just deny the globe now. Yeah. I love saying this for people that didn't know, but know me. I'm an ex-flat earther. In the end, my realization is you're just a science denier with a huge misunderstanding of science. That's all what flat Earth is.
And there's nothing wrong with questioning things, but it's just the denial of certain aspects that you might not understand. And when you get to that point where you're denying something that you don't know about, that's the point where you've given up on reality.
Yes. Which one is it? Oh, my bad. I was looking at something. Yeah, no, that's the thing. It is good to question, and for that, I do not regret it. The problem starts, and with this, when you lose this logic. If you're asking questions because you don't understand, and you come to a conclusion before you're done asking questions, it's not correct. That's what I learned. That's the biggest issue with flat Earth. You can't come to a conclusion if you're still trying to figure it out. I don't agree with that. Right to hand. I don't believe logic is subjective. I believe people's logic is subjective. That would make more sense to me.
Well, would you say that sometimes logic it can fail you? That there are certain things that seem illogical in the world?
Of course, but do they seem logical to others?
I even certain just certain aspects in the world, logically you would think that it would be one way, but you know, subjectively, or well, I guess pretty much anybody in the world would think that it wouldn't be a logical choice.
But that would make it subjective. Oh, hang on. Good morning, Tex. Thank you for joining us before you nerd out in school.
Yeah, I need to haul ass because I'm running late, but it's I'm ahead in that class, so it's not a big deal.
Wait, are you just leaving the house?
Yeah, but it only takes like 5-10 minutes to get there if I go 80.
You, you still have five. You still have like a half hour, don't you?
Class starts at 11:15. So
Yeah, you still got a half hour. You'll be fine. But on what you were saying, Sean, just your explanation makes it subjective.
Like
And again,
you mean
what?
the description that I gave for something that could be not
Logical and
logical?
unlogical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is my opinion that there could be things that don't seem logical to mankind, but I think like no matter what, you're going to have a subjective view, as in mankind's going to have a subjective view because we only have one point of view currently. Anything that is associated with us.
right.
mm-hmm.
So your viewpoint regarding the observation of the data can be subjective, but the data itself, the facts themselves are objective facts. There is no biases in the data. There is only biases in the conclusions.
Wouldn't there be bias in how you do it?
No, because data doesn't have emotion. Data does not have a rhetoric to be able to push, right? So again, I say the conclusion that you draw from the data may be biased, but the data itself is objective.
Okay, I see. Objective, you mean?
I said objective.
The data.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought you said subjective. My apologies. Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Because the way it was stated earlier, when the way right to hand said it's very clear. Logic is objective. Your logic is absolutely subjective.
Right.
And I guess
Our
the way the way you say it matters.
Yeah, our perceptions are subjective, right? How we interact with the data and the reality around us is subjective, but reality itself is an objective reality.
Ooh, I don't know if I could agree with that one. Um, reality will forever be subjective. And the
No,
data.
how we perceive reality will be subjective. But reality itself lies outside of the tangible world, right? We can observe certain parts of reality, but we do not observe the whole of reality because our perspective of that reality is a subjective perspective.
Your statement is correct, but something about it makes me go, "What? Hang on."
It's my tone because I'm talking fast.
No, because I feel like the interpretation of it is still going to make it. See, I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a second. I don't know. Good morning, right the hand. How you doing, sir?
But this is, I always get pushback on this when I'm like, logic is not objective. People are like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm going, no, because it changes from person to person, right? So if you have the data, right, whatever the data is, sunrise at 6 p.m., some people will be like, well, that's because the earth spins. Or somebody will be like, well, that's because it's a concave. That's the subjective part, right? Your subjective take on the facts. So the facts are the sunset. Your logic subjective take is still subjective.
At that point, I think it'd be subjective to you.
Well, that's the whole point of being subjective, right? Like if something is the same for
right.
like a rock, you pass it around, it's the same for everybody because it's objective. The object of the rock does not change. If you pass around, why do you think rock, or you pass around the question, why do you think rocks existed? You're going to get 10 different logical answers from 10 different logical people. That's because logic is subjective.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I agree. I agree. That actually, what you just said, I actually do 100% agree on.
Yeah, that's because I'm never wrong.
That's not okay. Now we disagree.
Well, because the thing that I do is like how I logic that out to the point where it's like, look, this is how it is. Your imagination changes from person to person. Imagination is the basis of logic. Therefore, logic must change from person to person.
Ooh,
You know, when you can break it down like that.
I don't think imagination thing. I think I don't like that.
Well, but nobody likes it, but they have to tell me the difference between thinking, logic, and imagination. It's all words for the same mental process.
No.
I
Okay, so what's the difference between logic and thinking?
Hang on. What's up, Tex?
I don't necessarily disagree with that. You know, Scruton has said something similar, that there, you know, the concepts of the transcendentals that Plato prosed, the truth, the good, and the beautiful, right? So if you can look at a flower, we all can say that the flower objectively is beautiful, but we just don't know why our innate rationale is to say that the flower is beautiful. And I think that's kind of what he's trying to touch on here. It's the concept of like, what is
beauty
transcendentally.
Beauty would be subjective, right? The fact that the flower is there is objective. If you think the flower is beautiful, that's a subjective view. That is not objective that flowers are beautiful. It's objective that they exist.
Right.
Yeah, so
but
exactly. So
the some form of innate knowledge of what beauty would be, whether the conclusion of the flower being beautiful or not comes to your mind. The point is, we can all find beauty. We can all understand the concept of that young age without any kind of indoctrination pulled upon us by that. So it's one of those objective forms in the sense that there is no outside influence to cause you to say that the flower is beautiful. You simply see it and say it's beautiful.
Yeah, but I may say that flower isn't.
Yeah, that's why beauty is a subjective term. There's some terms that are subjective. Like if somebody was like, hey, that was a good movie. That's subjective, right? The movie is, right? Now, to say the movie is good or bad, entertaining, non-entertaining, that's on the person, right? If you've been through the craziest shit in your life and somebody showed you a movie, you'd be like, this is kind of boring, dude. Like my daily life is more exciting than this. But if you live in a cave and somebody shows you the stupidest movie, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Look at these effects, right? Subjective. It's all subjective.
You said that logic, thinking, and imagination are the same. I think I can show you how it's not.
All right. Well, I'd love to see that.
Okay. Imagination requires no logic. You agree?
No, I disagree. because first you haven't
What?
established what logic is, right? Like when you're using the
Wait,
term
no, I don't need
logic,
to.
you're using it in the term
Okay.
mental
Okay.
process, right?
Okay. Here we go. I'll show you. Okay, I can imagine a unicorn without logically thinking a unicorn is real.
Okay,
Obvious reason.
Again, you're not separating what logic is. Like I can
I am.
logically think of a unicorn, right? I can think of one that makes more quote logical sense, right? Like it's not flying, it doesn't have wings. Okay, so again, imagination can be logical. You can't separate the two.
Yeah, right. Yes, you can, and you just did it. You imagine a unicorn. You start thinking about if it's possible. And then you logically deduce if it's possible or not. Those are 3 steps that aren't the same steps. Now, if you would like me to break down what each one of those steps means specifically, I can. But that what I just said was a clear explanation for the 3 different steps using them.
Okay, but what you did was you broke one process down into 3 and tried to make it 3 different processes.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah,
it
you
was
did.
Definitely
It was
3 with one situation.
Yeah, but the process which happened was thinking. Okay, you can't break thinking into subcategories. It's just thinking.
Thinking, and that's why thinking is part of each one.
So if you're thinking, there are no subcategories of thinking that are also labeled imagination.
Yes,
There's no subcategory of thinking that's labeled logical thinking. It's all just thinking.
Yes. No, there is.
Yeah, well, I disagree. I disagree. No, because well, then you would have to show me. Hold on. You would have to physically. You'd have to physically show me the difference between thinking, imagination, and logic, and you can't do that. All you'll do is just do the exact same thing for all of them.
Hang on.
Mental process.
Hang on. If you then wouldn't at this point then wouldn't you say that thinking and logic, or I'm sorry, imagination and logic are different, and thinking is a subset of each one?
No, because thinking is what your brain does. What? Now you can call what your brain does. You can call what your brain does thinking. You could call what your brain does imagining. You could call what your brain does logicking. At the end of the day, those are 3 words for the exact same process. Thinking.
No,
your brain.
No.
Yes, they are.
Thinking would be the only process. Hang on. Thinking would be the only process that you do in all the steps you're saying.
Well, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say. That
processing information, comprehending information, thinking up new information, and then having innate impulses to do things like bodily reflexes.
Okay, but it's all based in the same singular physical process.
But they're all hitting.
But it can't be different if it's the same process.
One type of thought is activating one part of your brain where another type of thought would not access that part of your brain. So we can say through data and through the science of psychology that yes, there are different.
No, but they're not. What you're doing is
based off of things. That there's levels of consciousness that are backed by years and years of psychology, and those things are all compiled into this one nifty little chart by Ken Wilber, and you're more than welcome to look at it. But it's exactly on what you're talking about.
So your proof is a guy drew a chart. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. This is you're a flat earther now. You're saying, look, some guy drew a picture, and because I listened to your whole spiel. I listened to your whole spiel. Just shut up while someone else is talking.
I'm on that.
Whoa! Hey, wait! Stop!
Bro, I'm not doing this bullshit.
I don't care. Do not talk.
Yeah, tell her to shut up when I'm talking.
No, I'll shut you up, and that's all that's going to happen.
No, I'll just take myself off mute because you can't perma mute.
I'll take you off. I'll take you off the panel.
Then take me off the panel. Then stick to your shit. But I'm not going to be interrupted.
Both of you stop. I'm trying to say something, and you both are talking. Both of you stop. Right to hand. You're not going to disrespect anybody on my.
And I'm not going to be disrespected and talked over. So control your panel.
Well, you talk over people. She talks over people.
No,
I talk over
listen.
people. That's that is a different problem.
Listen, you don't.
That is a different problem than disrespecting somebody on my fucking panel. The over talking is one thing. Go ahead. I don't care if you leave. Over talking is one thing, and this is for everybody, every single person on this fucking panel. Over talking is one thing that can be fixed, but you're not going to talk shit. You're not going to disrespect anybody on my fucking panel. And then when I stop you to make this conference, this thing, this to say this, you're sure as hell not going to interrupt me while I do it. Okay, yeah. Well, right to hand, that's how you just end the complete relationship that we have, and you find yourself gone from my fucking channel.
I didn't mean to overtalk him. I was trying to tell him I'm in my car.
No,
so
well,
there's
it
lag.
makes zero difference. It makes zero difference. He has lost his ability to ever be on this channel again.
All right, fair enough.
Hang on, I got to do this so I can. Yeah, you're no longer ever welcome here. And that's how you get your ass kicked off my shit forever. He has a lifelong ban. He will no longer ever be allowed on my fucking channel again after what he said in that chat just now. Okay.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So you got heated, so you decided to be a racist? That's wild.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta leave the server as well because I don't want no part of that bitch. And that's what happens when you have no self-control or logic.
Well,
Yeah,
one
so-
thing I can say is that in this arena, the stuff like this happens more often than not. You know, people just resort to the worst of the worst because they can't handle the conversation.
Yeah, if you have to be that much of an asshole because someone overtalk, and I want to make something so everyone, and I don't even have to explain this to everyone that's been around. Right to hand constantly overtalks, so for him to get that irate for someone overtalking him is insane to me. That's just what happens when he's upset. His logic isn't going anywhere. I'm going to mute you for a second because you got background noise, text. But yeah, it's weird. Was that text? Was that Sean? I think it's both of you. You both are driving, I think, aren't you? No, it was text. No, it was text. Yours is in and out. Hey, Nick, how you doing? We were talking about you earlier. She's in the chat.
So I wanted to talk about what logic actually is, if you don't mind.
Please, absolutely, please do.
So there's colloquially, logic is kind of broad, and in that sense, maybe he had a point. But as a formal study subject, logic is the study of correct reasoning, and that means you have arguments. Arguments have premises and conclusions. And in logic, you examine whether the conclusions of an argument follow from the premises. And this is not generally considered a subjective thing, because either an argument structurally makes sense or it doesn't make sense. So even if the premises are wrong in reality, you can decide just based on the structure of the argument whether the conclusions would be true if the premises were true. Sorry if that's a bit confusing. So you don't really look at the truth of the premises. You don't really look at what he called the facts. You only look at whether the structure of the argument is correct or not.
In that regard,
right. If I can add on to this, and then I'll mute back up because I know I'm loud.
No, if you're talking, you're fine.
When it comes to like the academic term of logic, there is an understanding or a presupposition that critical thinking is involved in some form, and like Nerd said, there's a process. You find data, you observe the data, you create the peer-reviewed article about the data, and from that, logic is derived to be applicable to whatever specialty, right? So yes, I agree wholeheartedly with Nerd here.
Yes. So there are two distinct subfields of logic. There is deductive logic and there's inductive logic. Deductive logic is really, if you go into the details, this is basically mathematics. So there is no subjectivity at all there. And in inductive logic, you can argue there is some subjectivity because it's not exactly precisely defined what is
Right.
considered a good argument. Let
Like a
me
good.
explain.
I'm so sorry, Nerd. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
just this one bit, just to explain what deductive versus inductive logic means. Deductive logic looks at an argument and sees if the conclusion necessarily follows from the premises. So if the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. There's no other way. And inductive logic is you look at an argument to decide whether the conclusions reasonably or likely follow from the premises. So it might still be, the conclusion might still be false, but probably it's true. And there you have some murkiness, let's say, or subjectivity. But what RTA, I think, was trying to say is that reasonable people can disagree over things. And that's not really related to logic. Reasonable people should still, at least at large, agree about the logic, but they can disagree about the facts that go into the logic. Well, not
I
facts,
don't
but
feel
the let's say they can make different assumptions about the world.
Right. Right. They can draw different conclusions, but still have a consensus on the process and the logic behind whatever.
Yes.
I don't know why that doesn't sit well with me. I just feel like my logic is going to be different from your logic in a sense of the word or of the conversation, at least.
Your rationale will be different from our rationale. The way that you process and rationalize information is going to be different. But logic
Right.
and rationale, well, they can be synonymous in certain contexts. In context of this conversation, I would say there needs to be a separation.
Right.
But I feel, but doesn't your rationale lead you to a logical conclusion?
Yes. But just like
But
there's
doesn't that
umbrella terms for things, something can lie under the scope of something else. So like rationale can lie under the term of logic, but logic cannot lie under the term of rationale, right? Rationale is the derivative of logic.
I think what you mean is that we can apply logic differently. But there's still the same rules. But so, in my opinion, logic itself, that's the rules. And the rules are not subjective. But you can have different approaches in applying the rules. It's like as an analogy in chess, you have rules and they're the same for everyone, but you can still play a completely different game from somebody else because you apply the rules differently. You make other moves because the rules still apply to you, but you have some choices.
the logic stays the same?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. I kind of see what you're saying. It doesn't sit well. I don't know why. I don't know how to express why it doesn't, though. It's That's weird because I get what you're saying and it makes sense what you're saying. It's logical.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit well.
It's basically a reductionist approach again. So if you if you look at some argument and if you just look at the claims and the conclusion all in one sitting, let's say, then you can easily get confused because there are many open ends. And what we strive to do in logic is to decouple the truth of the premises and the structure of the argument so that we can evaluate them separately and then decide whether the conclusion makes sense or not. So you can abstract away from the premises. A popular approach is to use logical variables. You've all heard this: if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. Yeah.
You said that, and I wanted to kick you off the panel. It was weird.
Why?
'Cause I've heard Nathan say that so many damn times. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Or QE.
Or QE.
I see your point. Okay, I'll try to understand try to avoid that. But anyway, you abstract away from the meaning of the individual words in the argument, and you just look at the structure. And then you can decide whether the argument is valid or not. That's how it's called. And if the argument is valid, then you can look at the premises and decide whether the premises are true or not. And if the argument is valid and the premises are true, then the argument is called sound.
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, nerd. I feel like you're fixing to go off on a tangent. I have to leave. I'm late for class.
Okay.
I wanted to say bye and then also show you this amazing view before I go.
Pretty day.
Nice.
Awesome.
Fake.
Have fun in school.
All right. Have fun, guys.
Yeah. It's. I feel like I'm not smart enough to be in that conversation. So, hey, nerd, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you give a fuck about the American elections and all that stuff? Does it matter to you guys?
Well, let's say it like this: the rest of the world will have to deal with the consequences, whatever happens in America. But I don't like to get involved in it anymore because it's always very frustrating.
Hey. So check this out. This confuses me so much, and I'm gonna lay it out there now. I think both sides are fucking equally as stupid and wrong for America. I do not vote. I do not vote for that reason. I think both sides are full of shit. I think both sides pander to bullshit. And then here's the big problem. They don't campaign to me. They campaign to the people that are already going to vote for them. And it's so fucking weird. I asked that question because I'm guessing that means you did not watch the debate last night.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I watched bits and pieces because God, that was aggravating. But I'm gonna let you know now, as an American, I feel the same way you do. I feel that last night. I feel it was an embarrassment. I think everyone around the world that did watch it just went, God, how are they so powerful and so stupid at the same time? It was horrible. Now, here are the two things that I noticed the whole time that aggravated me. One, Trump's duck face. I don't care who you are. Like, I couldn't tell if that's his resting bitch face or he was sleeping. I wasn't sure. Not sure at all. And then Harris didn't answer any fucking question. Like, every time a question was presented to her, she would answer something else. To me, it was very clear that she doesn't know enough about what's going on to be a president. they talked about the Ukraine situation. She talked about domestic situation to respond to the Ukraine situation. It was like so fucking weird. And then Trump wasn't answering questions either. Trump just wanted to make it clear that she was incapable of being a president while making himself look just as dumb.
I'll have to take your word for it. So I've been somewhat exposed to Trump's stupidity and lies, but I have, to be honest, I have not heard nearly enough or bothered enough about Harris to really say.
Well, that's the funny part about this. So we already all know how fucking dumb Trump is. And personally, he was probably the most. Okay, so there's two sides of this. I did like Trump for one thing. It fucking stirred some shit up. It was not the norm. That's it. That's all I liked. Other than that, he, as far as I'm concerned, he was an embarrassment to be a representative of America. Then we go to Harris. One, at no point has okay. The reason no one really knows much about her is because one, she doesn't do interviews. She doesn't talk to the press. She refuses to for some reason. Two, what the fuck does a vice president even fucking do? And here's the thing. I could tell what a vice president does based on how she talked last night. The vice president does all the little bullshit that the media doesn't give a fuck about, that the president doesn't give a fuck about, that the president's advisors don't give a fuck about. She does all the little shit. She's like the fucking president's secretary of bullshit. Because every point she kept bringing up that she had been accomplished or been part of was some shit years ago, was some shit that had nothing to do with the current issues. And as a vice president, I'm sorry, what did she fucking do? Somebody. That'd be great.
Well, one of the things she did bring up concerning being vice president was being the tiebreaker on a vote in the Senate, and that is part of the vice president's job. It's important for someone to be in that position because our fucking Senate is all over the place, and half the time they vote on stuff that doesn't matter anyways. But that is her job. And putting that forward, that bill itself did help out quite a few families around the nation, and help boost the economy and also manufacturing. You can look around the nation at all the roads being redone and everything like that. That funding has helped out. But that's just one of the bills that she helped do. Some of the other things that she's done would probably be, meeting with foreign dignitaries and stuff like that. That the media probably was there, but they're not going to report on it because the vice president meets with this person. How much news is that when you have Donald Trump is in court one more time? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that I was going to bring up about it, because when it came to the Ukraine, or better yet, foreign relation, because something that was really telling to me and worrisome with this would be point for Trump. He talked about the relationship he had with both Zelensky and Putin, and talked about the stopping of that war, and Harris couldn't answer to it. She was like, I talked to Zelensky. Yeah, we negotiated water, some food, and like clean clothes. That's basically what she said. I don't think she's ready to deal with foreign situations like Israel and shit like that. I really don't.
Well, I don't think her position wouldn't be to go over there and like negotiate peace or something like that. We generally leave that up to a specific person. Our like Blinken or somebody like that. But if it elevates to the next level, it usually goes up to the president The vice president usually isn't the person that's making making contact and stuff. But
Yeah, yeah. You can't expect her to have the same relationship with Putin
right,
that Trump does because Trump was president. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah, and also just because you have some sort of relationship with Putin, you know, especially knowing his background, and there's no denying Putin is a very intelligent guy, and he knows tactics, he knows political tactics. He probably knows more about our political system than most. I'll say like 80% of Americans. Um, so he knows how to play the game. On top of that, Putin is the one that continues to try to get into our elections. I'm not saying that either one of the candidates or anybody else was involved, other than the people that are actually named in the lawsuits and stuff like that have been charged, right? We know that Russia is going to continue to do this, just like China is going to continue to do this. Iran, all of these countries that don't like us are going to try to influence our elections to get one side or the other elected, or just
Yeah.
so disruption to make us pretty much to the point we are right now, where you have Americans fighting Americans over political parties, right? And, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And Putin understands that. So to say that you have a relationship with him, yeah, you might have. And like you said, Trump is dumb, and Putin knows that. So he's like, yeah, put him in charge. Go ahead. Like, we have a great relationship. I tell him what to do. He does what he does.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I don't think. Well, first off, I feel that ending the Ukraine war is important to us because we're funding that fucking thing basically, and I as of late, I have had a real big issue with the amount of money that we're spending overseas, while staring blatantly in the face of everyone the situations that we're having here, whether it's the border, whether it's the infrastructure that is being changed because of that situation. It's aggravating. Why is there so much talk about foreign shit when our shit is really fucked right now? Here's what scares me the most. Between the two, our border is fucked. And I'm pissed because I live on a border state, always have, whether it was here in Texas or when I lived in California. This is the big issue that seems to be just being overlooked by every single person. And neither one of them have a good idea of what to do. Both of their ideas are a joke.
Well, what did you think of the proposed border bill that they had set out?
I think the border bill is amazing. It's a wonderful start to the solution. Here's the problem. Don't fucking hold it hostage with foreign policies and foreign aid, because that's what they did. That was the problem.
Yeah.
That was the biggest issue with it. It was everything from funding more border patrol agents, more drones, more sensors, more everything they need to start, right? Not fix, start the solution of the border. And when
and it
you
also
go,
changed the legislation,
Yeah, it stopped a free wave of people coming in, because that is another big issue. A lot of people need to understand this. I'll say this part for the Trump part. Then you go to Trump, who's just like, build a fucking wall. That will solve everything. Now, here's the big problem. If you don't live in a border state, if you don't know this argument or care that much, there's a big situation with this. The wall will take billions of dollars overall.
Yep.
And here's the reason. Well, Don, the reason he blocked that, first of all, that's the other thing. Trump didn't stop that shit. If Trump goes, hey guys, it's a bad fucking idea, that's it. Trump didn't fucking hold a gun to anyone's head. Trump didn't threaten or fucking blackmail anyone to vote against it. Stop with that. Trump blocked it. Trump wasn't in office. He didn't block it. But I digressed. Trump's wall is the biggest joke in the fucking world. Let's get one thing straight. The majority, when I say majority, more than 50%, I'd say in the 80% range at this point, of people that are here illegally are not here illegally when they get here. They are going through processing. They are getting a court date. They get work visas. They have vacation visas. All of them get here legally. Student visas. That's probably one of the biggest ones.
It is.
What happens is the visas and the time they're allowed to be here ends, or their court dates come and they skip them for fear they're going to have to go back for whatever fucking reason. It doesn't matter. Those people are already here. What the fuck is a wall going to do for that? The situation we have where people coming across the border illegally, let me make something clear to everyone. They can stop that by patrolling it. More border patrol. There is, the way they have it now is the wall is at ports, places where no one fucking crosses, where open desert, where people wouldn't normally cross, like where you logically wouldn't do it because there's no water, food, or shelter. There's no border because they want people to funnel through, because if they can't catch them, let them fucking die. And that's an actual thing that you can look it up. There's a documentary on the borders from the 60s, 70s that explicitly talks about how the border wall is set up now to funnel people into the harshest conditions. It's insane. And that's a real thing. That is not a conspiracy. So you have both coins of that, right? I got one person that's like, let's build a fucking wall. We'll do fucking nothing. Cost us millions. Because remember, this is the best part. Hey, Trump people, don't you guys remember this whole wall situation was brought up by him saying, don't worry, we're not paying for it. Because who's paying for it? That's a lie. And then you got Kamala or Harris. She is using her policy, what she wants under that bullshit border policy thing. But in reality, what she wants is to have an open border. And that is insane to me. Just so everyone knows, we have a closed border. An open border means that there is no processing. That means what in her argument behind it is our immigration courts are tied up and all this litigation and situations going on. If we made it easier to get in, we could take all that stress off the courts and get it to be more efficient. The problem with that is that means you have this real big grace period where everyone's coming in and wreaking havoc. And I've been hearing a lot of talk about this. Yes, that's what the fuck is happening. Yes, there are background checks, but because the processing is so backed up, where what they used to do. This is what's very weird. What they used to do is someone would come to the border seeking asylum, because this is primarily what I'm talking about. They would give their reason. The United States would go, it's a good reason. Then they would hold them for a week or two. Why? Because they get in that background check. That background check says, hey, that person's done some shit. And remember that. If they're in the system for doing some shit, it must have been some bad shit. So they go, nope, you got to go back. We're sending you back because you're not qualified to be here in America. What they're doing now is we're going to do a background check. You've done your 72 hours of this processing part. Here's a piece of paper with a court date. And we'll come back on that court date. And here's the best part. We'll let you know if you can be in America or not. Logically, if they're worried, they're not going to come back. They're not going to go back to the courts. So those court systems are piled up and backed up because people don't go back to court. So everyone understands, I'll say it again, the majority, the big portion of illegals that are in America came here legally. So a wall doesn't fix shit. and just letting people in doesn't fix shit. So as far as I'm concerned, anyone voting for either one of them right now, you don't give a fuck about America. How about that? And I say that loosely. I don't really fucking
Well, I
really
think
mean it, kind of.
well, I think when they talk about changing the legislation and actually putting those judges in place, because like you said, our system is completely taxed right now, and our court cases are sometimes a year or more out for these people. That's an entire year that they could set up a life for themselves and not have to worry about all that stuff. Why are we allowing this to happen? Because our legislation is there, and until that legislation is changed, and until we can actually get the funding that we're supposed to have for down on that end, it's not going to change. And this was something that back in the '80s they had brought up. When the Cubans were doing the mass migration, and they brought up the same thing about changing legislation so that they could actually have processing time. Because back then they set up camps underneath highways, and this is where these people would be hanging out for for who knows how long, and basically like detention camps for people just that were either kicked out of Cuba or escaped from Cuba.
Yeah, but remember, they had to do something because remember, do you remember that? I know you. I know. Oh, shit, you live in Florida. I know you remember this. Do you remember when it used to be if you can get your feet on the ground, you're good?
Oh, it's still like that. It's still like that.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are a couple little like things about it, but basically, yeah, it's still like that. They still have the boats that come over from Cuba, and it's just I wouldn't even call them boats. I'd call them rafts. Coming over with people on them, and these they abandon these rafts on the shore pretty much anywhere, and it's not just the Cubans. It's just it's quite a few different people coming over because they understand that same process. They were probably told that
Yeah.
by somebody over in another country.
Yeah, and that's not the other big thing. The majority, I love this word for the day, of people that are coming into America through the Mexican border, they're not even Mexican. Most of them are from South America, China, Africa, you name it, other places. And that's where shit gets weird. And that I was talking about this other day, and it actually does really perk your ears up when you hear this aspect. There are fighting age Chinese men crossing the Mexican border. So think about this for a second. For you to leave China, you need permission, right? Now, when they do backgrounds on these guys, they're not defective, or how do you say it? They're not on the defective list of China. So China has a list of people going missing or defective. So like they become wanted basically. And a lot of these people aren't on those lists. So how are they leaving China and not being penalized for leaving China?
So in part of it, what they do is they will take a vacation, right? And they will just escape. And they're on vacation. They've told the Chinese government, I'm going over here to go on vacation. And, they may go to that country, but they also, get another plane ticket while they're over there and just travel to the U.S. or travel to Mexico or something like that so they can come over to the U.S.
That's crazy. Okay. The comment on the screen. Don. So Don said, Trump threatened to denounce any Republican who supported the border bill. Let me make this very clear. I already said it, but I want to make this very clear because, again, every time I say this, no one that says it like that has an answer. I agree with Trump saying not to fucking do that past the border bill. And I've said that already, right? I've said that everything about that border bill, the border bill, I agree with. I think it's fucking amazing. I think it's a great start to fixing the border problem. The reason the reason I agree with Trump, if he did, even if he, I don't think he said he threatened, but the reason I agree with what Trump did is because they held the border bill hostage to force people to pay for foreign wars. Understand that. Until someone can make that make sense, make that make sense. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous that anyone doesn't understand why that border bill didn't get passed.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you this way: that foreign aid happened either way, right? And in fact, when they did pass the foreign aid, they added more money to it, and they passed it with more money, both Israel and Ukraine. So either way, that money was going to go out, and they knew that. But that was what was holding them up on that border.
Yeah. Well, one, I don't agree with all the money we're sending over. It's a proxy war. It's fucking super fucking weird that no one's that it works that way. Like if the United States sets boots on the ground in Ukraine, World War III, motherfuckers are funding the war. Why are they involved? The United States is involved. I don't give a fuck. We don't, and we do have boots on the ground. I don't want to say it like that. The United States isn't represented in the Ukraine. How about that? But yeah, it's that whole situation is ridiculous.
If you look at it, going through the years, how much has Russia grown under Putin? And I'm just strictly talking about land size. How much more land does Russia have now than it did before Putin?
Yeah, but can you say that though? Because didn't the USSR lose a lot and then he had to regain? Because if that's the case, he's gotten more.
Right, but if you want to put it that way, I mean, we used to be basically Britons, right? So what you're saying is because we were part of that empire at one point, it's okay for Britain to come over and take us over, right?
Wait, say it again.
So yes, back when it was the USSR, right? Those countries were under the USSR. Well, we were under British rule. America used to be owned basically by Britain, right? So Britain could come over and say, you know what, we're going to take America back, and that's that. Just because you were part of our empire at one point. That's what Putin did.
Yeah, and I was reading the text that I just put up. He says our allies and friends deserve to defend themselves from Russian imperialism. I agree with you. Here's the problem. When you put so much money into a war and pretend you're not part of it, and at the same time overlooking the stuff that's going on here, it's a problem. I'm sorry. I understand they still passed that bill and Ukraine got more money. I understand that. But at the same time, then why didn't the border bill get passed? Because even Trump fucking helped form that border bill. Why isn't that back up there? And why isn't it standalone?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, isn't it?
What? Hang on. Everyone stop. Thank you, Nick. I absolutely appreciate the super chat. She says, thanks for streaming. I absolutely welcome. I love streaming. It's fun. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that is the question. If why haven't we put that border bill back up? There's no real timeline for it, and removing two passages or whatever in the bill, I think it was like 400 and some page bill. Removing two, we'll even say 50 pages of it. Does that change the outcome of the bill itself if it's supposed to be helping America? Why isn't that brought back up? But then you have to look
Exactly.
at you have to look at who we have in charge and what they're attempting to do at the moment. And I don't mean like the
Yeah.
president and vice president. They basically have zero power other than to admonish the people that we do have in the House of Representatives and Congress at the moment. That's all they can do is just tell them, hey, we really need this to be done. But these people that we have as representatives should be the ones that are saying, hey, you know what, this border bill, everybody's behind it. Our constituents are saying that we have to do something about the border and we're doing absolutely nothing. Let's show them that we can actually do something. But they don't want to because it's an election year.
Yeah. And then that brings up, all the other aspects of that, because I've heard some crazy stuff. Things like, and again, I get it. It logically makes sense. People that come in, like that asylum seek, people that come in on work visas, they can vote, right? Asylum seekers?
Only if they go through the process.
Yes. Or get through the process or in the process?
Through the process. Right. They still have to apply and they still have to get get the paperwork all through and everything. Basically, they have to become U.S. citizens before they can vote.
Okay. Well, wait. That was something that I remember hearing about. Wasn't that something? Okay, that was probably a rumor. Was Biden trying to make it so they could?
No.
Okay, and that's squashed.
The entire thing behind that was he wanted the process to be easier for people to come in, just like what you and I were talking about.
Yeah.
How it was taxing the system, and they look at that and they say, "Oh, he wants everybody to become a citizen." He just wants to keep bringing people in. But I mean, like, of course, he did say things like, yeah, I want a whole bunch of people coming in, but not like, he wasn't saying come in and automatically vote, right? He was just saying come in and work, come in and do something.
And boost their economy. No, okay. So, and here's the thing, because, and this is towards Don. I'm not sure if you think I'm saying no one should come in. I completely understand. Let's make something clear. America itself is founded, or I don't even want to. America itself is now a cesspool of migrants that are now citizens, right? From our ancestors to us. It's just how it works. I welcome for people that want to come here and become citizens and make a life, work, etc. I absolutely we need them. It helps our economy, etc. The problem starts here. When you say, like what Sean was just talking about, when you say we need to make it easier for them to get in because it's taxing it's taxing us, what you're really saying is let as many in and we'll deal with the problem after. Because that's what's happening. We're now seeing the issues with them letting floods of people in. Again, I am 100% pro domestic policy overall. I get we don't want Ukraine being taken over by Russia, but what's more important is that the old dude that I saw yesterday at the fucking QT gas station, I'd rather him not lose the war that he's fighting before Ukraine. I'd rather Ukraine get taken over than that guy die in the next fucking few months because someone didn't help him. And that's what it ultimately comes down to me. Because what I'm seeing, what I'm reading about, what I'm watching, what I'm hearing from people is bullshit. I did a stream a while ago about this. $38 billion fixes homelessness. Sounds ridiculous, but more money goes foreign. All the bills and the programs that help fucking homeless people. Meanwhile, they're losing money. I've seen it firsthand. It's an in and out system with homelessness. Something happens at the hospital, fix them, get them the fuck out of here. Mental health, give them this pill so they calm down, get them the fuck out of here. That's not fixing anything. But hey, go sit down at a big table for fucking a month and argue about how much money you're going to give to Ukraine. If you think that makes sense to you, then maybe we need to start voting for fucking foreign presidents instead of having a United States president, because you guys are being fucking clouded by fucking foreign shit going on.
Yeah, I would say, like with as much coverage as America gives to its domestic problems, I would say that we highlight the worst of the worst, and then we still sweep it under the rug, right? We just point at the pile of dirt, and we say, look at that pile of dirt, look at it, and then we don't clean it up. Just sit there and do it over and over again. And we've done this for 60 years, right? This hasn't changed at all. Like we talked about the Cubans and that crisis that went on then, and they were saying the same exact thing. We just we have no answer for it, is what what they ultimately said.
Yeah, it's. I don't know, Don. I wasn't taking offense to it. I just wanted to get my side out. No, yeah, that's one of the other big problems. It's this idea that all these fucking band-aids are going to do something, and we need to start thinking about the big picture. The biggest issue I have with the debate, this election, how Democrats and Republicans think, is that you motherfuckers aren't talking to me. And you motherfuckers aren't saying anything to me that helps your cases. And I say that because hopefully it's happening, but the majority of people are seeing this and not voting because of it. And I get it. I get it. People feel like the voting is necessary and they do it, and more power to you. I just don't get the logic behind how voting for a lesser of an evil makes sense. If Trump becomes president, you're going to see some things get better, but it's going to be an embarrassment, and you're going to see a lot more get worse. I personally hate Trump for one reason only. National parks are set up so that drilling and environmentally fucked up shit doesn't happen. When he was president, that motherfucker opened 19 million acres to oil drilling in national parks. Fuck him. He don't give a fuck about anything. He don't give a fuck about what's going to happen. He just gives a fuck about the money he can make for America and how he can make America look right now. Harris, fuck. She oh, Jesus Christ. She wants to shut down fossil fuels. Trust me, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. It's ridiculous.
I think she made her position clear last night during the debate. She said she didn't want to ban fracking or anything. She did highlight that the transfer from power, from natural and fossil fuel to renewables was going to be a hard road, and that, you know, no matter what, you're going to have to do it. What she also said was, depending on foreign, foreign oil, basically. She said that we need to stop being dependent on foreign oil because, you know, we have our own oil, and you know, she highlighted the fact that we are now producing more than we've ever produced before, when it in the fossil fuels. But
Yeah, well,
yeah, I agree. I think Donald Trump's approach towards some of these issues is pipe dream and just empty promises, and that there is no plan. It's just fly by the seat of your pants. And if you know, and between the two of them, I would say that she presented her case a little bit better during the debate last night. But yeah, overall, the two-party system is something that does need to change. And I think I said this like 6 months ago, that this year would have been the year for a third-party system to come up with a good candidate, and they would have had a chance to actually, you know, get their name out and become a viable option. Because right now we only have two options.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. To what Harris was saying about the problem with that is if, and I want everyone's going to love this, especially all you motherfuckers in California. If Harris becomes president under those guides, gas is going to go up another $3-4. There's a reason why we get oil from other places, a big reason, and that's because it's expensive as fuck to use our own oil. Now, the solution is, and this is my opinion, obviously, the solution is to cut oil production in America in half. Continue to use foreign oil because that's going to be cheaper, and use ours for when we need it. Open it up as you need it, close it as you need it. What's happening is they're making a fight. First of all, Harris's argument, she should have thanked Trump for that, because Trump's fucking opening up all those fucking. Remember when Obama shut down offshore oil drilling in certain places, certain, you know, within United States line. Trump demolished that, opened it back up. Then he opened up a lot more drilling. So all that extra oil that Harris was talking about, she can thank Trump for that shit. The other issue with that is all they're making an argument for now is why they're going to keep fossil fuels going. And I'm not sure if you remember, but Biden's campaign was, we're getting away from fossil fuels and going towards renewable. They are sneakily going away from their stances and realizing without acknowledging that fossil fuels is never going anywhere. You realize how the campaign kind of, or not the campaign, the idea that we need to get to renewables, 100% renewables by 2050, 85% renewables by 2035, all that shit that they were spouting, and how Biden ultimately, in my opinion, how Biden got a big push for presidency was off that campaign of, we're getting to renewables. They're not talking, like, I get what Harris said, but they're not acknowledging how full of shit that was, and how many people made money on that technology for no fucking reason. Every truck driver who drives like an 18-wheeler or a diesel that takes DEF fluid understands exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure. The DEF fluid is that was the worst fucking decision that has ever come out. I hate using that language, but man, it's literally for the oil companies to continue making more money. And that's it, because you can actually you can filter all that stuff out and run an extremely clean engine with extremely clean exhaust without that fluid.
Oh, yeah, that stuff is actually really bad. You like, I talk about like cloud seeding and how the the aluminum is bad for aquatic life, and but that takes a long time and accumulation. But that DEF fluid, that shit kill like the exhaust people. It kills bees, like it kills wildlife. It's not. It's it's not good at all.
Well, not only that, but you know, just the production of it, you know, the production behind the packaging, you know, like
Yeah,
it's not good.
Jesus Christ. And the worst part about it is the guy who came up with these numbers, the realization that this needed to be done, was found to be a fraud who had no schooling for it. That's the funny part.
Yeah, and states have based laws on this. You know, you have to have this. Like any piece of equipment
Yeah.
has to have it now. You know, you're like,
Well, Sean,
well, wait a minute.
well, at the height of me and my dad's company, we had 8 dozers, 3 loaders, and 6 10-wheelers, and 4 end dumps. Um, Yeah, we got super fucked. Luckily, we found a bunch of loopholes. We kept them under ours, but yeah, we were lucky. We got scrubbers in our Super 10s and in dumps, and at the wonderful cost of $16,000 each. And when that happened, we were able to get back, I think, maybe 10% of that money from the government. But there were companies, I don't know, there's a company called Signs and Panic in California, Southern California. When it first started, when this whole hoopla about changing engines and scrubbers and all that shit, because a lot of people don't know this. The trucks you can put scrubbers on, these weird fucking crappy systems, but for the heavy equipment, you had to get a new engine. So if something was too old, they were like, you have to buy new or scrap it. This Signs and Pennant company, Sean, they sold off everything. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of scrapers, dozers, and loaders, excavators, and bought brand new with spec engines. And then all that shit went down. They sued the government for billions and won. It was fucking funny as shit. That was one of the big steps to them scrapping a lot of that.
Yeah, well, I remember when they first started switching. You know, it's saying that you needed that fluid, and you know, there were companies down here. They're scratching their head because they're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to like actually start putting things into a you know, profit margin, because now you have extra, you know, extra money that you're throwing at this project, especially on the larger projects, like, you know, with multiple pieces of equipment, and every one of them has to use that fluid. And so there were huge adjustments made, and you know, the people that were like B.O.T and you know, multiple other developers and stuff like that, they you know, they didn't realize how much it was going to affect them until they saw that the lowest bid was, like, you know, like almost twice as much as what they were they were thinking was going to be the lowest bid, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that fucked the market up big time. We watched companies go under. That was when the big push for most of the trucks to go to most construction went to Texas, Arizona, and Texas because of that shit. That's when it started. People were like, I can't buy a brand new fucking truck. And California was the very first place to get real strict on them. And that's why everyone left. It was crazy. Big useless piece of shit. What were you saying, Charlie? Charlie said something in there. He was saying, actually, they only were talking about offshore exploration, and leasing. This is a big gap in time and money between getting a lease and actually having a production well. Yeah, but that was 8, 12, 16 years ago. Yeah, so if that happened 16 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah, 12 years ago. Because I'm trying to count how many years between when Trump was there and all that kind of stuff. 12 years. That's more than enough time for Harris to be talking about the oil they have an uptake supply now. And then he said, by the way, how much is the U.S., that is all of us, making off these leases of public land for oil production? In many cases, it's all a gift to the oil and other mining companies. Not true. Here in Texas, I know for a fact. Wait. I read that wrong. Public land. 19 in Trump presidency, I can tell you exactly how much. 19 million acres. And it wasn't gifted. They paid for those leases to the government. Here's the thing. Trump is a businessman. There's no doubt about that part. So when it comes to the making money part, he's going to have better ideas than most other presidents. The problem is that the bigger picture he doesn't see. The us part he doesn't see.
Yeah. No, I agree with that because and I think Harris did touch on that a little bit about how he doesn't see the future. That she talked about a plan for 10 to 20 years in the future, and his plan was day one. And she's like, well, day one is fine, but you have to think about the future of an entire nation, not just one day.
Yeah, but so here's a problem. Or I want to say one thing. I want to know if you agree with this or not, Sean. In the pieces that I watched, I heard her. I have a plan part. I'm sorry. Again, I look at these things as they should be talking to me. So when I hear these things, things pop in my brain. Did you see that was a Martin Luther pander?
A little bit, I would say a little bit, but also I would say that like when you're attempting to become president or to associate with people, like you are attempting to draw people into your idea, you're going to have those types of words. You know what I mean? Like
I just thought
if the message is unity, right, or bringing people together, you're basically going to have to say, I have a dream, right, of unity.
Yeah, but see, but then I think it was just pandering to the media's thing about her race.
Yeah, possibly. Do you think that was a factor during the debate? Like, and I mean, and I hate, the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because they specifically brought up a question concerning it, and to me, it was a wasted question. That just adds to the division. It doesn't do anything to bring anybody together or have them learn about the either one of the candidates.
The problem was, okay, so when I look at the I plan part, and I look at it like what I'm hearing as an adult, red flags. Here's why. What you saying was right. The problem is what Harris did, in my opinion, in that debate is show that she's not ready to be the president, because nothing she said, and this is for the whole debate, Sean. She showed very much so that she's only qualified to handle small things. As a vice president does, like we talked about earlier, I wouldn't expect her to, like we said earlier, I wouldn't expect her to have the relationship with Putin that Trump does. But her issues that she discussed and talked about, rather than talk about the bigger issues, the things that she would be handling that she didn't as vice president, she just kept giving her resume, which showed that she's only had to handle or been handling small things. The vote, being the vote that sways something, or handling the small stuff. And I'm sorry to say this, she's almost proud of doing the same things the first lady does.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I would say that, from my view, um, all these small accomplishments show that she has continually put herself in the position of having to deal with. I'm not saying large, the largest of topics, but large topics concerning, her job,
Us,
basically. Um,
yeah. And I just thought of this, and it's a good thing for her. She is showing that her main goal is here. I don't agree with a lot of her things, but I am seeing, after what you just said, that she is thinking more America first, then foreign. Um, but again, I even with that, which sounds like it stands with exactly what I want. There's too much that I don't agree with her that I would ever vote for.
so do you know what she was doing for the border? Like,
As a as
I mean, you probably heard that she's the borders are quote unquote, and everything, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So her job was to, basically go down to where, uh, what they call the Northern Triangle, and to attack the problem of having the people from the Northern Triangle coming into the U.S., in mass amounts, and reduce that amount. Now the the things that she did implement, or did meet up with dignitaries from these people, from these nations and stuff, and also went over policies that would help keep people there, and keep them from coming over here by investing in their economy. Because if they help their economy, it helps reduce the amount of people coming into our country. So, um, so that was her entire job. And over the course of 3.5 years, she reduced the amount of people coming from that area, by, I don't know how much. I couldn't give you a number offhand, but it did reduce the amount of number of people coming from that one specific area.
Yeah, I need to see the data because it didn't matter where that area is. Because like I said, if um, it was like a situation like she went to poor cities in Mexico, um, yes, it's a good thing, but it doesn't help the immigration problem.
Well, if she's talking to people to keep them in Mexico rather than saying, "Hey, you know what? Come on up to the U.S." or something, or offering them opportunities that they might not have had down there, such as, like, new businesses coming in, or new manufacturing plants coming in, then that offers them a chance to be able to build something there, as opposed to coming here and starting at zero.
But I thought her campaign was on the steadfast that we're going to start getting everything from America.
Hmm. No, the manufacturing isn't from our. It doesn't have to be from our country. The manufacturing doesn't have to be a U.S. based thing. You know, if you talk about private companies, I mean, there are multiple companies around around the world that that build products. You know, Bangladesh, China, Taiwan, you know, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, all of these countries. You know, it's not like they're all third
Well,
world countries. You know what I mean?
not so much Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, no, that's true.
Kind of third world at the moment.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, these
Yeah,
are
100%.
massive countries that have infrastructure and multiple businesses. So if they're offered an opportunity to open up a business in one of these countries, you know, and produce, you know, we'll say 8,000 jobs. Well, that's 8,000 more jobs in a place where, you know, you may only have 12,000 jobs for the entire part of the city or something. So
Yeah,
it's an opportunity for them to start building in their own community.
but I distinctly remember her making a point that Trump wanted to use other foreign companies and stuff. What was that about? Was that just a preview to Putin thing or something?
There, I may have missed the exact wording of it, but I think it was highlighting using like Saudi Arabia or something like that as another source of gaining oil or something like that, where we are purchasing things from this country, and you know, making a deal with them, you know, and saying, okay, well, if we buy, you know, I don't know, I'm just using numbers here, 1,000 barrels of their oil per year, you know, for a 5-year contract. Does it really help out if the price for that barrel of oil drops by 50%? No, it doesn't help us. It hurts us, you know, because we've overpaid for this oil. You know, just in the barrel of oil, we've already overpaid. You know, and then we've overpaid for the barrel of oil and the shipping of the oil, and then the processing of the oil goes into, you know, our refineries. Well, they're not really our refineries; they are Saudi Arabia's refineries. So we get screwed on multiple aspects. It's the same with the tariffs
Yeah.
in China. You know, there are certain things. Yes, we did need to add tariffs to China or any other country for that matter. But there are certain products that Americans, you know, use, especially in construction. You know, we use quite a bit of steel and other things. Well, our steel companies, you know, were consolidated under U.S. steel, and China's are not. So their prices are going to be lower, where ours are going to be higher, and they can't match the production that they could in China. So we get hurt on both ends at that point, because now our price is the same as their price, and you know, and they are, you know, they still make the money because it's cheaper for them.
Yep. And the crazy part about that weird offset where they're trying to get away from it at the same time, that's when we started selling so much fucking metal to China too.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if people knew that China basically, like, when you recycle something, it goes to your local little place that takes it to the big place. They take it to a bigger place, and then they put it on ships, and those ships take it to China, and they go, "Thank you, guys."
Yeah. Yeah, and then
but again, that's because
another thing that's happening that we you know, like, it's not talked about a lot, but U.S. Steel is the largest steel manufacturer in the U.S. is getting ready to sell the company to a Japanese foreign investor, and I want to say it's Japan. So, you know, our steel is not going to be our steel anymore.
Yeah. I think the crazy part is after the whole talk, it's like both sides are fucked. Like, is there an actual solution to all this bullshit that we're dealing with?
Yeah, the solution is to have a third party and to say we are not going to take the hardline stances that these two extremes are. We are just concerned about the policies that affect your everyday life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah. Everything else
And like
could be thrown out the window. That's a sideline thing. Don't get me wrong. Like war and all that stuff. That's going to come up.
yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
but when it comes to like reproductive rights and stuff, okay, we had a law in place and it was there for 50 years. And whether or not this legislation, people agreed with this legislation or not, it didn't matter. It was the law. This is just how it is. And you either deal with it or you complain about it. But
Yeah.
to continue saying that this should be a major issue for Americans is insane, because it doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't deal with the homelessness. It doesn't deal with the ever rising prices of housing or the ever rising prices of groceries. It does absolutely nothing but continue to divide us.
Absolutely. And no, yeah, that's the biggest issue with it. And yeah, that's why I think the scary part is I think, yes, the third party system would be a better fix solution, try for solution. The scary part is that what would stop Trump from running as an independent? And I think that's where, but hey, it's the other option that makes it important, right?
Right. Because right now we only have two, right? We don't have a third option. If we had the third option, it would be much, you know, you you could actually like play them against each other and say, you know what, it's not hard. You're giving me two choices. If I have a third, screw you guys, go play your game on your own. We'll go with the third choice.
Yeah, well, the scary part is that's happened before, and somehow it didn't work, which was weird. What's his name? Sanders? Bernie Sanders? Was it Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, Bernie Sanders. Yeah. But that there was also something else that went along with that, which was the two parties didn't want to lose power, and I mean, of course they don't, but when it's at the detriment of the American people, that becomes the issue, because we put the parties above the nation.
I think I just solved the problem. You ready? Why do? And this is going to be a lot more voting, a lot more, but I don't care. We should do the election buddy system. So every elected seat you'd have, a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, all sit on that same one. So you get those three. They have to debate each other to get shit going, to get passed, rather than it just being this. If the Democrats did it, then everything the Democratic president wants is going to pass, and vice versa. Because that's ultimately what it is, right? The president, like, their main goal is to get the Senate to be fucking majority.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the other ideas that I had was, instead of having the president pick someone in their party, make them choose someone from the other party. See how that works out. Like, you know, you don't agree, and we're fine with that, because you don't agree, and we would rather have you two discussing this like adults, rather than just having it set up for our representatives to fight it out and spend 3 years working on one freaking, one little tiny thing that could have been solved in 2 days.
Yep. Shut everything down until we get our way. It's like little children. Every time I hear about the government shutdown, I think that 5-year-old singing in the corner.
Yeah.
With his pouty face, arms crossed. Oh, that's so funny. That should be the new rule. Hey, you guys can do government shutdowns, but if you do government shutdowns, you guys have to wear adult diapers and have a bottle.
Yeah. See how long that
Got to
lasts,
carry
right?
around until you figure it out. Yeah, exactly. It'll be like 3 minute. It'll be like 3-minute government shutdowns.
Very first person that actually, actually went through with it was like, you know what, we're going to do the shutdown, and had to wear that diaper would be like, I'll never do this again.
Never do the shutdown again. Hey, I don't know, man. There's some weird ass fucking politicians.
Oh yeah,
That's how you
true.
weed out those ones. You weed out the ones that are like shutdown. It's like, dude, we're talking about what to get for lunch.
Yeah. Shut it down! Shut it down!
Stop it! We're doing it. Diapers on.
I mean, isn't it sad that we talk about the leaders of an entire nation this way?
It's extremely sad, and it pisses me off. It's really bad. Again, until they start talking to me, when I say me, what I mean by people who don't trust the voting process, don't trust them. To me, it's going to be a big joke. I won't vote. I have established my life never to vote. I have never voted a day in my life for the presidency. To me, it just doesn't make sense. And until it makes sense, why would I do it?
Yeah. No, I like, because when I was 18, 18, 19, right around then, I felt the same exact way, right? And it took me like local election, in realizing that someone getting into a local election had so much influence on my life that I didn't even understand how bad it was. The municipalities can change. It can change their rules and regulations that will affect your life instantly. And when you have one person that's continually in power, that's going to continue to abuse that power, you come to realize that it really is important to speak out against things and actually dive into the topics that they're supposed to be discussing.
Yeah. I just thought it's an analogy type situation. The way I look at voting is like this. It's like both kind of step up and they go, I would save an old lady from a burning house. I would take the risk of death and injury. And you're like, fuck yeah, they're all about it. And then one goes, I like kicking puppies. And the other one's like, I like kicking kittens. And they're going, now vote for us. Remember, we'd save an old lady. It's like every time they talk, that's what I hear. That's literally what I hear.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, like that basically is how it is. Like, and except now it's turned into like before it was, you might have one or two jabs towards the other side or something like that in a debate. Now it's like 50% of the entire thing. You're like, well, wait a minute, we shouldn't all why are we attacking each other? Can't we just talk about the actual issues? No.
Yeah.
We gotta slag you through the mud and just may as well just call everybody whatever name in the book and get it out of the way so that we can actually get on with the topic.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. And this is probably like I've always seen this happen, but this is definitely the first election that I've seen this so bad. What's up, Carl? This election is breaking up friendships and shit. This election is like making the most logical people that we thought we had in this community sound fucking ridiculous. I think it's insane.
Yeah, no, I am a product of that, and you've heard me at times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like a raving lunatic.
Well, that's why I actually do appreciate having the conversation with you. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can all assume your stance, but we are having a perfectly logical conversation about it without any ad homs or nothing like that at all.
Right.
I think it's weird. So I could kind of see why it's, you and somebody else could get into it because with different views. But what's weird to me is that I get attacked if I say Harris sounded ridiculous last night. I am assumed to be a Trump supporter. And
Yeah.
if I say something about Trump, I am assumed to be a Harris supporter. And that is the first red flag to an election to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, my question would be, and I'm going to ask you this question. If you found out that every night before bed, Harris kicked fucking kittens, would you vote for Trump?
This is a little hard for me because I know I've met Trump. Like, where I live, and like
Yeah.
I have done business in this area for 26 years. So, no, I wouldn't fucking vote for that motherfucker. All right.
Okay. Then the next question is: would you vote for Harris?
No.
Even
Actually,
though,
at that point, I would probably be throwing a fit, right? And like a big kid fit, not a little kid fit. And I would be
okay,
like, "Is this the best we got?" And
yeah. So,
go for
your
something.
choices are
I would
this.
write fucking Scooby Doo.
Yeah. Okay. You answered it. Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they both kick puppies before they go to bed.
I'm not disagreeing.
And
Hey, I don't know.
but that's the other thing. And again, I'm actually going to round off pretty soon. Yeah, I'm probably going to round off soon. I do want to do this. This is a stream, and I'd like you to be part of it because you are rational about it. But I kind of want not too rational people for this. Like I've said a few dozen times now, I don't vote at all, and my main problem is because the campaign isn't shaped to me. It's shaped to, like, Harris's votes, or Harris's campaign is shaped towards you. The problem is you're going to vote for her already. Doesn't fucking matter. You're not going to, or better yet, you're not going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So to me,
well, I mean that was already a given. She wasn't appealing to me. All right.
well, okay, so that's the thing. Here's, will your see? I don't know. See, I don't even know how to ask that question. Is your vote based more because you agree with her or because you hate Trump?
If and I'm going to preface my answer a little bit. If you go back through and you watch this debate between the two, and you had based everything solely off of this debate, you could easily tell which one was more calm under pressure. You could easily tell which one was looking at appealing to the audience and appealing to the people rather than feeding them fear. You could look at both of these two and you could say this would be a logical choice because of a couple different factors. But one of them that stood out to me was what happened when she started when they had their opening statement, and that was, "This is what you're going to hear tonight." And she listed through the exact playbook that Donald Trump did, and
She
he did
Eminem'd
it.
him.
She called it out, and she should have backed it up in the closing statement. Right. That's my opinion.
Mm.
She should have said, "There you go. I called it in the beginning. This is what happened." You know, but that really stood out as something that was, like showed that she was on a whole separate level than he was.
I would agree. Okay, so I'll give you my assessment of it, like you just did. She definitely did that. Trump definitely did Trump. Um, the problem I had with that is that rather than focus on her campaign, she focused on Trump's campaign. Um, and Trump just embarrassed himself. I can't even listen to that guy. He's so fucking ridiculous.
They're eating cats.
Because when she was pointing out all those things, and again, those to me, it's a good thing to do because it does show that he's on a script. It does show that he's probably full of shit. But what it ended up doing was the little time that she did talk about her stuff, and I said this earlier, she just looked not qualified to be president. But you did back that up when we talked about that earlier by saying, well, she's only been a vice president. She's only going to have the qualifications that a vice president has because she wasn't president like Trump was. I just didn't think she didn't sound confident is probably what I would say in the long run. She didn't sound confident with her plans. They sounded like the things to say to make Trump look stupid rather than things to say to convince me that she's being honest and just. Honest. But yeah, that was my take on that. I am going to wrap it up because the wifey is going to be here in a few minutes for lunch, and I'm hungry, and I like spending time with her. But what I am going to do is I'm going to try to find. I'll talk to you in the background, DM you something, and see if you're willing, depending on who it is. But I would like, and I'm going to handpick because this is serious. I don't want a debate between a Democrat and a Republican. It's not what I want. I would like to have a Democrat and Republican come onto the panel and campaign to me why that side is better than the other. The reason I say that rather than a debate is because in a debate, you're just trying to crush the other person's arguments. And what I want to do would be a situation where you're being forced to tell me the issues and tell me the solutions rather than play the like me game. Like it'd be more of an honest thing because I can ask questions. I can make it a more productive conversation with it. Much better than basically the moderator from that fucking crapshoot debate. That shit was crazy. Like the moderator only talked to Trump basically, and every time he was like, "All right, we're moving on," Trump would go, "No, we're not," and then he would bring it back, and then to make it worse, Harris would just push on with that whatever Trump said. So like they just ignored the fuck out of the moderator. They need a moderator with some fucking balls. That's what they need. Shawn, did you want to do your 32 a minute spiel?
A whole minute. Oh man, what am I going to talk about? That's a lot of time. No. I really appreciate the panel, and appreciate you letting me come on and spout my leftist BS. And putting down Trump because I don't like Trump, but no, I like honestly, it doesn't matter who's running for president. If you choose one or the other, just go vote. If you don't if you don't care for either one, vote for Mickey Mouse for all I care. But you know, you are given this as an American citizen to go out and vote, and you know you should take advantage of that because your local elections do impact your everyday life. Your local elections are going to dictate what happens in your community in the future. And the presidency, I mean, that's a toss up. You know, we just from the conversation we've had here today, you know, it's a toss up. But you know, if you vote in your local elections, I'm good with that. That's at least a start. That's all I got.
Awesome. Nerd, I know you kind of sat out of this one because you don't really like the politics, but do you want to close out with anything? Okay, no worries. I do appreciate you being on the panel. Thank you guys. I do appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and remove you off the panel so I can do my spiel and then get the F out of here. All right, guys. Today was a fun one. I enjoyed it. That is something I want to do. I'm gonna I feel like Shawn said he was down to do it. I'll see. I guess it would really depend on who I get for the other side, which I would have to handpick because I don't want two people that are just going to yell at each other the whole time and I have to mute the whole time because I will. I'm not that moderator from the debate last night. Other than that, I don't really have anything to close out with. The links to anything I showed, I guess it'd be just that flat earther from Japan. That's in the chat. I did put something. I changed the title. More was really debate issued. Yeah, but other than that, guys, I don't really have much else to say. If I go live tomorrow, it would be later in the day, definitely, because I got something going on in the morning. But I definitely am interested in this debate talk. I apologize that we had to deal with right to hands BS today. That won't happen again. I have strict rules, and I don't really care. There is no one person that makes this stream, and he sure as hell ain't one of them. So with that attitude, he's gone for good. So I do apologize. Celian Prime, I do know you wanted to have a one-on-one with him, but it won't be here. That's for damn sure. Shawn in the background said that Flat Earther needs to help with Coriolis, and that is something I do. So like the last ones that I showed you, those two guys, I have emailed them to have a discussion with them. I'll email this person and see if she wants to have a conversation about these things. It's obviously I assume they won't because either they're really small channels or they don't like confrontation. Oh, I don't know. You would think more people would want to have that conversation about it, seeing how there's a place to do it relaxed. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. Everyone that was here. If I didn't say what's up to you earlier, I do apologize for missing you. But I did eventually see you. I did acknowledge you in my brain. Thank you. Was there anything else? I don't think there is. Sorry about the camera thing earlier. I wish I knew why I'm assuming it's StreamYard because nothing else was lagging and nothing else is off. But if I turn my camera on, I know it will. I will see some of you later, some of you around, and some of you next stream. Thank you guys. Love you. Peace.
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. mission. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the drive and I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm bad, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and her toes feel like white. They complete me, met jou, dat is zo voor mijn lijk. You knew it for sure, but he left with a why.